Good morning, this is Pigsy doing another video. How are you? Okay, I was watching a video of Thomas DeLauder. I think that's right. Sometimes he pronounces his name. I'm one of these people that remembers people's first names and their faces. So I could probably spot him in 1,000 people. I go, I know that guy. But it's one of these things because I don't know, I'm just not listening, I guess. Not listening and tying the name together with the face. Anyway, what he said was he mentioned about insulin. When you have your carbohydrates, you spike your insulin. Your insulin acts as a mechanism to allow in your cell to absorb glucose, and so it's like this in essence is you get the green light. So your body's absorbent, sensitive. And I mean, I've heard this elsewhere, and also there's certain minerals that help this. If you don't have these minerals available, then you won't be very effective at absorbing any sugars. I think one of them is black pepper. Well, it's probably black pepper that's grown in certain soil, to be honest. It could still be mineral deficient. Let's get up this hill. There we go. So the other factor that's overlooked is why your cell is receptive to absorbing things. It's basically metabolizing. That's what it's doing. It's feeding at a micro scale. So it's like what we call like a micro uptake or something like that, or micronutrients is the cell. The problem with that is if you have things like if you have stuff that's garbage as well. If you have sweeteners and sugars, they're not a good mix. Because what happens if your cell will start absorbing sweeteners, and sweeteners' real role is just to make it taste sweeter, like flavouring. So they don't necessarily have to have any sort of health benefits at all. It can be toxic, and you absorb it into the cell, and then your cell's got to get rid of that. Or if it tries to use it, it could end up mutating or something, trying to overcome this obstacle of having this sort of like waste inside it. So that's the negative. If you're sort of having a lot of sugars and you're eating a lot of foods that are not good quality, or expose yourself to certain chemicals and things, your cells will metabolise that. It's a bit like plants, really. They won't metabolise. I mean, sometimes they shut down, metabolising through the roots, so they won't absorb poisons. But when they get wet, they start their metabolism. They're sort of growing, their absorption. They can absorb the poisons which can basically wrecks their ability to grow and just die if it's like weed killer and stuff. So you don't want toxins in your body that belong there. And it may actually, to do a kind of cleanse, you may have to do a sort of high sugar. So maybe if you went fruitarian for a bit, as a kind of and then went into a fast, so you use that to open your cells up. You put pure stuff in them, and then you basically allow them to shut down, and you went back to your normal habits. So that's possible. But then the fructose needs to be turned into glucose, so you might have some issues there. So you might want to have some. Depends on what fruit you have, I guess, as well. You might have a mixture of sugars like bananas. And yeah, so maybe that's why people lose weight when they have like one type of food, high starch, high sugars, because they're detoxing and cleansing, because their cells are open. But on the good side of that as well is that you can always put in good stuff. Like if I had sugar, and it's got like its polysaccharides in it, and so it's basically got sugars, nutrients from the tree it's absorbed over time, and like it's in a biological form, like you get with certain mushrooms as well, like turkey tail, lion's mane, things that can grow on trees basically, can absorb nutrients. Then them kind of things, sticking that building material into the cell is a good thing, because that's what it is. When your autophagy takes place, that's when the builders are in. They're in to do the work. There's always happening in the background, like they're doing other stuff. But when they've got just nothing else to do, they're just focused on the cells. And then they just use that relationship they have with the cells. So when they start using up old cells, they'll be getting some of the nutrients, the micronutrients that their cells absorbed, as well as separating toxins out and other things. So you can use it as a bit of an upswing. It's dodging a cyclist. I couldn't really stop, the next cyclist wasn't going to stop. Crazy. So yeah, use it as a kind of biohack, an upswing. So glucose can be your friend if you know how to use it. And I've mentioned before, like things like if you went into a warrior type food, or if you had your OMAD, it could be that you have a particular carbohydrate that you're targeting. So you could literally just have a load of cakes and stuff. The only problem with that is you want some nutrients as well. Or if you're gone warrior, you could you got some 4-hour window. At the start of the 4 hours, you could be having your meat and veg, and then at the end of the window, say 3 hours later, you could be having you could be eating chocolate or something. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's less destructive because your body gets a chance. It takes an hour, so give it an hour to process a particular type of food, start breaking it down, and then decide what it wants to do with that food. And then another food comes in, which is your sugars, and then your body says, right, we've got some other food we've got to deal with, and starts processing that. But when they're all together, it becomes so much work, it's better to just delegate it out. So right, we'll shove them fats there, shove this here, and then burn the sugar, and then we'll come back to the fats and other things. And so you might go into storage mode. So I don't know if it's necessarily the same, because it depends how your insulin spikes. But some people have sweet things before they eat the main meal, and some people have sweet things after eating the main meal. But if you stretch the window out, so you go to something sweet before, so I'm not saying snacks are good. What I'm saying is your eating window, that's when you get a certain amount of things done. So have your sugars. Sometimes it depends how you feel. If you're tired, because digestion uses up energy, and so if you have your sugars and you raise your blood sugar level, and then you allow your insulin to drop as well, and so many hours later you have your main meal, then you prepared your body for the onslaught. So that might be an idea. Anyways, please sign off and speak to you soon.